great to have a longtime friend, Damon Hack, now joining the Mosley Show. And Damon, welcome in. I can't watch golf without thinking, I wonder what Damon's up to. I wonder what he's thinking today. I wonder what he thought about that. So thank you for taking the time. I know you got to be on TV here coming up in an hour or so, and we'll be able to watch you on the Golf Channel. But appreciate you taking the time. And what a wild Masters. We were worried we might not have any drama and that Rory might just run away with it. But we should know Rory better than that, right?
We should, Mosley. It's great to be with you, the Matthew McConaughey of sports talk radio in my mind. You got great pipes. My man, it was an incredible experience. Rory does not let it get to the house without a little bit of stress. And it was, as us reporters, we love it. As patrons that were on the ground, as viewers at home, you just can't leave. You have to watch it till the very end. One thing myself and my partner today, Matt Adams, will talk about, when did we think it was over? I actually thought it was over when he got up and down for par at 17 after missing the green. Had a tough chip there, had a 2-shot lead going in the 18. Then, of course, he blasted it right into the trees, and lucky for him, had a good lie and could make 5 and still win. But my goodness, though he started his major championship career by winning his first 2 majors by 8 shots apiece, that was the young kid, the kid who hadn't been scarred. Now he's grown up and a little more vulnerable like the rest of us.
Isn't it crazy that he could have that long period of time between majors, and then now that he's done at the Masters, and we'll see how he sometimes he isn't as engaged as you think he would be. There's something un-Tiger-like in him, and we like the human side of him, but he does show up at times, and you're like, wait, does he still want this as much? But when he's engaged, Damon, it's just like, he just kind of, it's like, other than Scotty, who in the world has that much talent, that much distance? And, it used to be kind of like in the old days, 30, about to turn 37, you'd be like, he's on kind of the tail end. And when you watch a guy like Justin Rose, who's kind of having this second wind at age 45, like, if Rory truly wants this, I get the feeling he literally could win 3 or 4 of these majors.
Yeah, and isn't it interesting that last year unburdened him in a way, and then he kind of went on a bit of a walk in the wilderness and was looking for his motivation again. And we were all wondering, where would he find it? He said, well, I want to win the Irish Open again, and he did. And he wanted to make sure he won a Road Ryder Cup, and he did. And that was a huge moment for him, and for him to say, and he has said this, he said it early in the year, because I value hard work. He's like, don't worry about me. I will find new challenges. Why not win the Grand Slam a second time? It's never a straight line for him, though. It's just, Scotty is relentless. And even if he's struggling a little bit, you get the sense, like a Rafa Nadal, every single shot is hit with purpose, with full concentration. And that's something Scotty will tell you he learned from watching Tiger. No wasted motion, complete concentration, complete process. Rory's a little, dare I say, unpredictable at times. I think he would admit that. Maybe his mind wanders. He had to stop himself from looking at his parents and his wife and kid behind the green until he made sure he got that first putt down to a couple of inches, because his mind was starting to wander. He's built differently. He's honest, Matt. He's vulnerable. He's human, among the many traits and reasons why we appreciate him and like him so much.
Were you feeling for CBS yesterday when when they couldn't find that second shot? I mean, you're in the business and you're NBC Sports and Golf Channel, so you know what it is and how much those camera men and women, like how much they put into that. So I would think you have a level of empathy probably that most folks don't. I think those of us viewing, and you probably also have that golf fan in you that was like, where is the dang ball? That's, Damon, we've seen different things, and I know we're recency bias, we're trapped in the moment, but in a huge moment, that's as long as I can remember without being able to find where a ball is.
The fan in me is like, where is the ball? Why is no one talking? The broadcaster in me was like, oh my gosh, someone's in trouble, and there's going to be a lot of yelling in the TV truck right now because either a spotter was grabbing a pimento cheese sandwich or a cameraman had, taken a potty break. But it just was remarkable, obviously, because of what's at stake and because of the moment. If this was Thursday afternoon, the reaction is a little bit different, and maybe it doesn't feel as long as a gap as it was. But you're talking about the guy who's holding the lead, hitting a hook shot from the opposite fairway on his last hole of this great tournament, and we're all collectively holding our breaths, and clearly not how CBS wanted that to unfold. I empathized as a TV person in that moment, that no question about it, Jim Nantz and Trevor are waiting for someone to tell them where the ball is, and the producers, sellers, and company are trying desperately to find out where that ball was. Ultimately, we found out. But yeah, it was, it added to the drama, no question about it. The fan in me was like, man, where's that ball? And the TV guy was like, gosh, somebody missed it.
Scotty's so good that the questions, even when he's like pulling off almost this miracle comeback, right, are about what he didn't accomplish. Why didn't you do this? Now, he was kind of giving whoever that was a hard time when he said, that's an awful question, because in Scotty form, he kind of came back and laughed about it a little bit. I don't think he was truly trying to be as mean or whatever, or ungracious or whatever you would call that, as it appeared at first. I even thought Amanda, and I ask you this because you do this stuff, you ask these questions right after these huge moments, either good or bad moments. Amanda had probably one question to get in with Scotty, right? And it was kind of like, it was interesting because she's so nice and everything, but like, it was again kind of like, almost like, what happened? Or like, why couldn't you do it, or something? And I'm thinking, goodness, I mean, he birdies 15, he birdies 16, he electrifies all of us with like, oh my gosh, he may pull this off. He almost knocked it on 17. So it's like, we almost have now assigned him this Tiger-like, it's like, if he doesn't pull it off, he's a failure or something. And so I was just kind of wondering, like, were you even a little taken aback at some of the way the questions were being asked, or is that just, we now think of him as so great that that's the only lens we can ask questions through? Oh, you didn't win, so what went wrong, kind of thing?
Yeah, Matt, and we both covered Tiger, height of power. He's receiving the Tiger treatment where a T24 or T20 is treated like a miscut by 4 shots. And I think he's feeling that and sensing that from the media, and he refuses to go down that road. He was asked at the Players by our buddy Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post, longtime golf writer. You didn't get off to a great start this year, not a Scotty start. And Scotty's like, I did win earlier this year. If the results were in a different order, would you be saying that? You're looking at week to week. I judge myself on shot to shot. Was I committed to this shot? Did I select the right club? Did I go through the process? So I think he's wearying of the questions coming his way when he doesn't bring home a trophy. I think the back and forth with Jason Sobel was the reporter, and Jason likes to give a little stick to the player sometimes, and he could be a little sarcastic. And I think Scotty was trying to have a little fun with Jason, and it came off maybe the wrong way, which Scotty sensed and kind of, like you said, circled back to Jason and tried to chuckle and laugh about it and say, well, maybe that question wasn't so bad. But I do think it's the accumulation of expectations and Scotty getting a little bit tired of the bar being set, which he set, but the questions from the media, which are starting to get a little bit on his nerves, as they did to Tiger back in the day.
Did you think Rory, when he double bogeyed and then had another bogey, and I thought there was a brief time where he was like at 9 under, wasn't he? And was there a brief time when he was 3 strokes out? Did you think he'd lost it at that? Because he had that hangdog look about him.
Yeah.
I started to kind of, in that moment, I kind of wrote him off, and maybe based on Justin and and others that, Cameron Young, obviously such a great player, maybe not at the majors yet enough for people to totally think of him as household name. But like, to me, there were enough good golfers up there. Henley was coming. I thought he was in big trouble. What did you think in that moment when he fell to 3 strokes back?
I thought he was in trouble, especially when Justin Rose got to 12. Considering his resume, 3 runner-up finishes, including last year to Rory, he was looking like he was finally going to break through after his incredible close calls. 2015 losing to Spieth, 17 in the playoff to Sergio, last year to Rory. And then I was reminded, Matt, at the end of the day, the second 9 at Augusta National on a Masters Sunday is the deepest water in the game. It just does something to these players, as great as they are. And I think all of a sudden Justin Rose became 45 years old when he stubbed that chip at 12 and made bogey and 3-putted 13. He bogeyed 11. His iron shot on 11 was way off target, way to the right. Amazing miss for a precision player like Justin. And as those guys just all of a sudden started to stop, run in place, suddenly there were 2 guys. And they're the guys that have won 4 of the last 5 green jackets and 4 of the last 5 majors, Rory and Scotty. And I was like, you know something? Not everybody can swim in that deep water. But I was with you for a time on that front side, man. It looks like it's going to be over for Rory. But by the end of it, as the body started falling back and tripping over themselves, and Cam Young, players champ, as great as he is, just kept making par after par after par, bogey, not making a move. Suddenly it was Rory and Scotty. I was like, you know what? This makes sense.
Yeah. Do you think Cameron Young, Henley, any of those guys that were kind of chasing, Oberg is a guy that didn't really get involved in that, but ended up actually finishing fine for the tournament. Who, when you think, and he's just got so much talent, so maybe I'll leave him out, but who are those, that next wave? Who do you think is ready to win a major of those guys? Because sometimes people surprise us, like Spawn. We kind of like, okay, that's a fluky deal. And then Spawn kind of backed it up a little bit. And you're like, wait, Spawn may be, I still have a hard time thinking of him as like a top 10 in the world guy. But sure. I think his name is still on there as a top 10 of the guy. Like Griffin was a guy I picked in one of my things. And he just kind of nips at the edges of these things, right? I mean, he's good enough to win tournaments. I don't know if he's ready to win a major yet. Who is that next? Who in your mind is like getting ready to break through?
Cameron Young is getting ready to win a major championship.
Okay.
He finished runner-up at the Open in St. Andrews in 2022. Had a great chance at the PGA Championship at Southern Hills. He had 7 runner-up finishes before his first victory on the PGA Tour. Broke through, had a great Ryder Cup, went 3-1-0 in his home state of New York in the fall. Won the Players' Championship and hung on that leaderboard for a long time in this first major of the year. He hits it high. He hits it far. Scotty has a chance to complete the career Grand Slam in June in New York at Shinnecock Hills. Outside of Rory, I think the greatest threat to that Grand Slam run will be Cameron Young. He'll be a force, I think, at the PGA. And he's a name I'm already thinking about in June at the U.S. Open in his native New York.
Did Cameron Young always look like this? I for some reason in my mind, he was a little burlier at one point, and now I'm like, golly, he's so slight and thin, like so many of these guys. Am I seeing things, or was he a little burlier maybe a few years ago?
You're seeing well. Burlier early in his career, he has gotten himself in fantastic shape. He also has like 3 kids under the age of 4, so it could just be the stress of having youngsters and being a young father. But he's kept the beard. It's burly. I called him a Paul Bunyan type character, considering how hard he swings. But he has gotten himself in fantastic shape. Was definitely kind of a little bit of that, had the freshman 15 when he was just coming out on the PGA Tour. And now he's looking svelte and ready for battle.
Did you ever know me as a thin man? Was there Do you kind of remember that? Like a brief? Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't just the voice that was McConaughey. It was the look as well, man.
I'm trying to get back there. I'll shrink up. If anybody would bring something to inject myself with, I would take it. If they just bring it over the house, I don't really want to pay for it. Last thing, I need to get you going because you got to be in a TV studio. Just on the Tiger situation, that's tough, and everybody wishes him well. Everybody wishes he would stop putting himself in peril. It's easy for us to all say, well, gosh, he's a billionaire. Like, how does he not have drivers? How does he not do this? And so, again, yes, that's logical to say those things, and he's being extremely selfish in those moments. I also know that when you're in whatever he's in, painkiller addiction, whatever it is, you don't always make the greatest of decisions. I guess we got to accept that we've probably seen the last of him. I mean, here's the thing. You never can say never, right? He's going to try to will himself back out to play in another major at some point. Is that the way you see it? And like, I guess, do you kind of sense that maybe this will finally get his attention and maybe turn things around, because he's still seen as such a senior statesman and this unbelievable player and huge voice in the game, yet he doesn't always back it up with the way he lives. How have you viewed this now that he's in rehab, and how do you see this playing out?
I extend a lot of grace to him, knowing that there are families across the country and around the world that deal with addiction. I hope someone in his camp is strong enough to wrest the keys away from him and while he's going through these battles, protect himself, protect others, his children, people, strangers on the road. I think that's clearly an issue that will have to be tackled at some point. As I extend him his grace and want the best for him, from a playing standpoint, I would probably gather that the Champions Tour is probably his best outlet venue for that now, considering the injuries and just the youth of the game. He's a legend. He's obviously dealing with some pain. I know that the guys in the 50 and over set, the Furicks, the Freddie Couples, the Strickers, the Harringtons, they'd love to have him out there. But that's definitely well down the road as he deals with some very serious problems right now. And hopefully he has some people in his camp that have the strong enough will and ability to try to protect him and others from himself right now.
Mm-hmm. We need people in our lives who will call us out on things. And I've actually got too many of those. I feel like I need fewer. I get called out too often. Damon, thank you. Have a great, we'll be watching later today, about 4 Central Time on the Golf Channel. Damon will be on there. Big day reacting to everything that happened at the Masters, and then can't wait for your U.S. Open coverage and all that you do as part of that. Love it when I get to see you doing those interviews and everything. And I've never seen you make Scotty mad, so you seem to be a little gentler. But I appreciate the time, Damon. That was great.
Matt, it's great to visit with you always, buddy. And I look forward to our next chat.